Welcome to the Best Damn Podcast. This is your host, Jill Lagan, CEO of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. In each episode, we will highlight what makes Boulder City, home of the Hoover Dam, the ideal place to operate your small business, explore world-class tourism attractions, and discover why we are the perfect place to live and unwind. All right, listeners, today we have a treat. We have Mr. CJ Sattler, and he is the CEO of ISP.net and one of our wonderful partners here at the Chamber of Commerce, and also provides us with our internet and telephones. And so thank you so much for being here today. I cannot wait to get to understand you a little bit more.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So as I was learning a little bit more about you, I thought, oh my gosh, this kid has had a brain for this type of activity for so long. As you started this company at 15 years old. So impressive. And so I couldn't wait to get to visit with you and get to learn a little bit more about you and understand how that brain works, because it's pretty impressive.
I appreciate that.
So explain to me a little bit more about what is ISP.net. I am familiar with the services that we are utilizing, but what all do you offer?
So we are a internet service provider primarily, and we have 2 data centers in downtown Las Vegas. That means that's where the internet's created, where we bring in all our fiber lines and mix them out. And then we transport them through our middle mile network that goes over the mountain tops to Boulder City and other places around southern Nevada. And then we beam the last mile into people's houses, businesses, and other locations. We do internet anywhere in southern Nevada. And on top of that, we do, since we have our own data centers, we do a bunch of services on top. Telephones, we do surveillance cameras, we do Wi-Fi, we do a lot of the casino Wi-Fis, we do trade shows, like in the middle of the desert. If someone like the Baja 1000 needs internet there, we'll bring out a trailer and batteries and just provide internet high speed up to 10 gigs or so in the middle of nowhere, where you can do anything with it, whatever your imagination is.
That is incredible. And so in the process of creating all of this, I'm sure it just evolved. What did you start with? So at 15, when you created this, what level were you at that point?
Well, we're talking like 95 AOL dial-up. So mainly we had a data center, and we originally were Vegas.com back then. So we were doing basically an entertainment site for Vegas, a website. But we also had an ISP where people would dial up to our internet. This was basically, you had AOL and then you had internet, which was a little more advanced, but like AOL you logged into and all the screens popped up. Back in the day with Windows 95, or you had to just dial up and then you just had a empty screen, so it was up to you to figure out the applications and how to actually use the internet. And that was a little more complicated way back then. But that's how I started. I met a guy that at ATech, my high school, I met a guy that was making an internet service provider, and he needed someone to do all the technical stuff, and I did all the technical stuff. I've always been the computer guy, and he did the business stuff.
That is awesome. And back in school when you got started, did you always want to be an entrepreneur and start your own company, or were you just as happy teching it out in the back room, helping somebody else out?
I just want to play with big, expensive machines that blinked.
That's awesome. You were in the right city for that, right?
Yep, that's it.
That is awesome. And so I would imagine that the services like you provide, like for the races out in the desert or special events that are taking place, we don't think about it, but you do get out into those places and you need all of your services to be able to create what that event is, produce that event, provide the services to the individuals that are at the event. I can imagine that they are very grateful to have something like yours. And I guess I just really never thought about it, but you have to bring a whole entire setup out there.
Yeah, we have to engineer the link, how to get to one of our assets that are on top of mountaintops, usually with towers. If you ever look around the city, you'll see some little blinking lights at night, and those are tower sites that are maintained by companies like American Tower, Crown Castle, and we figure out how to beam to up there. But yeah, the events need internet just to take tickets without communications or anything. A lot of these sites don't even have cellular access. If they want to stream, if they want to do any kind of communications with the outside world, we can go set this up ahead of time, and then they can use their venue just like it was in an actual covered office.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. And so growing up in Vegas, you also probably saw the need that the casinos had for security, for having a safe network to make sure that it's protected within their own environment. How did you see that playing out? Did you know that was going to be a thing, and did you work towards that? Was that something on your mind, or were you just more worried about helping more of the residential and small commercial?
So that's how we got started. First was doing business stuff. When the internet came around, Ethernet, which is what everyone knows nowadays to plug in computers, wasn't the de facto standard. There was all sorts of things. Nothing was 100% made for Ethernet switches like you see now. A lot of this stuff was proprietary cabling. The phone system was a lot more involved, like T1 lines and how all those interface. Just the stuff wasn't around and had standards like they do now. We would do a lot of business internet and dial up in T1s for always on devices. And that kind of just evolved into doing, as more and more things became part of it, we just kept adding all these other things. Eventually dial up went away and we bought a company called, first company in town that did wireless was called Landwaves.
Oh, okay.
And they went out of business and we bought their assets and kind of just kept doing it ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I am sure grateful for the service and glad that you offer it, because we were one of those areas here at the Nevada Welcome Center, Boulder City Chamber. When we first moved in July of 2020, there were no services provided to us as far as traditional cable or any of those types of access to internet or even Wi-Fi. And so we were so grateful for the ability to have a part of your programming here. At that time, it was LV.net, and we were glad to have them. And I'm so grateful that ISP is now our provider, because otherwise we would have nothing at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of those stories, especially when over here isn't that rural, but when you start going up through northern Nevada or any middle Nevada, or there's this little in Death Valley that breaks Nevada-California border that you don't even get cell signal. But there's actually a lot of people that live there if you go through it. Like if you take the Baker to Pahrump exit, there's a lot of people out there and there's just nothing. Like schools that didn't have internet, they didn't have any communications, they're just off the grid.
That is incredible. And so by providing this system, you are able to bring and create that network for those rural communities that have not had access.
Yeah, we were basically the people that brought in internet for their schools so they could learn online and just communicate and even have a 911 line.
I was going to say emergency services, I would imagine, yeah?
Yep.
And so how far into the central Nevada or northern Nevada do you go right now with your services?
So we go up a little past Pahrump, and then we actually have a network in Reno that comes down
a
little bit, but there is a section that breaks off between the two.
Oh, very good. I had no idea you guys were so widespread.
Yeah, we've been trying to stay in Nevada. We had networks in Seattle and San Francisco, but we divested them and trying to stay mostly in Nevada just because I like being able to provide a quality network and people that we can get with our have the same level of service that we can go to anywhere we can drive to within the same day, really.
I so appreciate that, because so many companies, I don't know that it's necessarily greed and power. Sometimes I just think they feel like that's the next step and they just outplay themselves. And then unfortunately they get to the point where they can't provide the service they once did. And so people fall in love with the small hometown company, and then they get too big for their britches, and unfortunately they just can't provide those services, and it's really kind of disappointing. So thank you for that philosophy.
Yeah, Nevada is really the greatest place to do this because it's constantly growing. So I remember when I was a kid, there was like 250,000 people here.
Yeah.
So over the years, there's always people coming in. So I like to stay here just because there's always growth, but you can do anything here. Some of the biggest companies have come out of the state to provide national services, but
So I am going to ask you somewhat of a controversial issue. So here in Boulder City, there's a lot of conversations about data centers, but you have operated one for many years. Your life experience tells you that not only are they necessary, right? They're going to have to be someplace. Can you explain a little bit more about what your data centers look like, how they operate, maybe how they function?
Yeah, our data centers are small compared to the new AI data centers. But so basically a data center provides a few different things that you're not going to get in a regular building. One is cooling. These things, the temperature's going up a little, but they always have to maintain a equilibrium of temperature, so you'll have redundant cooling. So they'll take in air, and then you have hot aisle containment where the servers are going to spit out all the hot air, and then you blow them out. And then you have to have redundant internet, of course. So that makes it so you got to have multiple fiber paths. But there's different tiers to internet or data centers, and tier 4 means you have to have separate power paths. You'll actually have to have separate power lines come in. And along with internet, you have to have separate manhole covers that you bring in internet. But everything's fully redundant. You can take any one part down and still operate, where just about every other type of facility, you can't. It'll never run even with all the redundancy. So a data center means that any one point, whether it's security, whether it's network, whether it's cooling, whether it's power, everything's fully redundant.
Oh, that's interesting. And so then, like you said, there's different levels of centers, and the AI type are considered level.
Those are specially built just for AI. They're all level 4. The difference is the amount of power they use. Like, you have cabinets in there that are standardized units to put the servers in. And back in the day, you were using 5 to 10 kilowatts per rack. It's a cabinet. Now you're using 120 kilowatts per AI rack, which is a lot. A megawatt's 1,000 kilowatts.
Yes.
And if you look at every block for power, a block only has 5 to 10 megawatts per block. So when you go to get power for a certain type of building, you got to see how much power is available. So these guys are building data centers that are multiple megawatts, 500 megawatts even. And that's really the difference now, is the scale of power that they're using.
And so are you seeing in the future, I'm not asking you to forecast, you don't need your ball, but I'm wondering, do you see in the future the requirement that's going to be needed for each new data center that's created for them to also create their own energy?
Oh, 100%. If you look at turbines, those are what makes energy. I think they're sold out till 2030 if you need a big turbine to make power even. I know Tesla and SpaceX are actually making the turbines just so they can make the energy so that they can have the power for their data centers. And Wells, they're also talking about putting satellites into space, just like a fully contained rack, essentially, in space that communicates by lasers and comes down so they don't have to use any of the land here.
Oh, man, that's incredible. I did not know that. So I find him fascinating anyway, and I think it's not at all shocking that Elon would come up with his own way to create his own power, to create all of his own stuff. So that makes a lot of sense.
Here you need batteries and everything to make sure the power doesn't go down. If you get in a certain orbit around the planet, the sun's always available, so you don't need to have extra batteries and everything. It's just cooling is the problem because there's no air to send the heat out of, so you have to use to bleed off all the heat.
Oh, interesting.
So you need a football field worth of coolers to get the heat off of those racks.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, it has been a huge topic of conversation here, and so it's interesting to be able to speak to somebody who actually has centers and are utilizing them. And obviously, you're fully aware, too, of all the pros and cons, and so thank you for sharing a little bit of your information on that. So what would you say is your favorite part of what it is that you do?
My favorite part is when people can't believe that we can bring 10 gigs of internet into somewhere. Like, for instance, I met a guy that has a facility that he has off-road vehicles, he has a shooting range, and it's a pretty big facility outside of, not Searchlight, but some other city. And he wanted to do online shooting where you could go on the internet and shoot things online.
Really?
Yeah.
How cool.
And he needs, the latency has to be really, that's the amount of time it takes for a signal to get from somewhere to somewhere. And he couldn't believe that I could get it down to 2 milliseconds from where he is in the middle of the desert over to the internet, where he would be able to actually shoot something live and get customers that could use his range over the internet and do these type of sporting things. It's the wow factor that I find interesting, in bringing stuff to people that don't believe that you could do it. Especially I could do it the next day because I had all the infrastructure in place.
That is incredible. And the infrastructure isn't inexpensive. I mean, you have that kind of to have that inventory to be able to provide that service immediately. Man, you must be one of his favorites.
Yeah. Around town, we have about 150, we call them pop sites, points of presences, which are towers or rooftops that we broadcast from. And each one of those is a separate lease that we have to maintain. So it's we have 150 locations essentially throughout the Vegas Valley or Southern Nevada.
And that's what interconnects everybody and provides the umbrella of canopy. That is incredible. I appreciate that. And I know that maybe some small version is what we have here that helps here on the lakeside.
Yeah, if you see down, we go down to there's a bunch of people that couldn't get internet at the lake that live in communities down there. and they're asking us to get there. So with your help, we were able to bring internet to them where they can stream and watch TV and everything just like they would at any other kind of
Yeah.
place they stay.
I really appreciate it. So I'm happy that we can be a part of that because that's a big deal. And so have you ever, I would imagine within your work, you've had a lot of aha moments because as technology advances so quickly, you're probably having those on an annual basis or daily basis. So can you think of something that really has stood out in your mind that really made you go, this is an aha moment?
In the past year or so, like AI, we've been writing the software that does everything and automates us for about 20 years. I
Wow.
started when I was in high school, and it really, everything that happens goes through our software. When someone calls up to our office, it gets a caller ID, looks up the account record, pings the client's data, sees the quality of connection. It brings up any of the past information we have on them. It actually transcribes the call and checks for customer sentiment if they're getting angry or anything. It does a lot, but AI has allowed us to build all these new features in at incredible pace, and all the stuff that used to take me weeks, I'm able to do in hours now.
Wow.
Like we have a full-time programming team of 5 people that have been developing this for a long time, but the amount of development that I'm getting now is, I feel like I could say, hey, just copy this, and within the next week I'm able to get my ideas out in a beta form that we can test.
That's incredible. And so as you have been so involved with AI for such a long time, really, what do you see as the future of it? It's almost hard to fathom. It's like internet was when we were young, and it was kind of like this, it was something everybody was so nervous about. Oh, we don't want to touch that. Oh, we don't want to get involved in that. And then we all have to on a daily basis. I don't think people even realize just the spell check, on your systems is AI. And so I don't think people realize it, but will they just baby step into it and it'll just become part of their everyday life? Or what do you see? What do you forecast?
So I have a lot of contacts in my phone of specialty people. I got a bunch of friends that are doctors, lawyers, and quite honestly, I'm not going to call them and bug them on a question anymore just because my phone has more information than I think they would even have and be able to solve things quicker without bugging them and trying to describe it just by taking a picture and asking, hey, what the problem is. I used to send a lot of documents to our legal team to figure out what are the problems, but I get a much better, more comprehensive review of everything now. And if you think about just having the world's knowledge and the best things in the pocket where you can just ask anything at any time, everything that you do in normal life, you get a lot more leisure time that you don't have to sit there doing contract review. You don't have to, if you're able to see the world's best opinions, especially because yesterday there was a new model drop called Mythos from Claude that is better than anything that's ever, but that happens every 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months ago, I think that the models got smarter than just about anyone you can call. Now, with yesterday, when I was playing with it this morning, it seems like it's actually smarter than anyone that would be out there now. Like my wife is Polish, and
Yes.
and her mom stays with us and doesn't speak English, but I'm able to talk to her real time in Polish, and I couldn't learn that language even if I wanted to but I'm having fluent conversations with her now that AI is a thing. It just enables everything. If you have a dream, you can do it in no time and get it out there and anything you can think of.
That is incredible. And like you just spoke about Claude, I was going to ask you, do you have a favorite model or format?
At our office, we actually have every month I send out an email about the AI usage of what all my employees did with AI. And I don't write it, AI writes it, of course.
Yeah.
But we use Google, and it gives us a report over who uses AI the most, and it ranks everyone and who doesn't use it at all, how many days people are at limit. But every model has its strong suits, like general questions. Google's usually good enough. My programming team, they wouldn't use anything but Claude, but there's a bunch of other things like Composer and things that are cheaper models because Claude's really expensive.
Oh, is it? Yeah, you can tell I haven't played in that. There's too many. I can't keep track of them
and
all.
everyone's good at one thing or two.
Yeah, and everybody that I ask, they all have different favorites, and they've just gotten used to it. And so I think I just got started in chat, and it just has been easy because now I've got all my history in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know that's not completely your world, but you just have so much experience in it. Thank you for answering those. So I know that in your life, it seems like sometimes behind the scenes, you may just be all about tech and thinking in those terms, but I would imagine you've had some pretty funny experiences also in your world of profession. maybe something that related to a trade show or any of those types of activities? You had shared a little bit about being at a trade show and you had perfect setup, and then a big plane came in and it got positioned right in
Oh,
front of where you guys had line of sight.
yeah, there's a convention in town called NBAA.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the planes come in for people to buy them, and they look at a Bombardier and Learjet and all these guys. And we set this up in advance, and we work with the executive airport in North Las Vegas to get all our network right, because again, there's no way that you can provide internet access or Wi-Fi out in these little tents that they're trying to sell to their customers. So we set it all up and everything's ready, and then someone goes and parks a plane right in front of us, and now we have to go reposition the whole trade show that we spent the past day. But usually we have enough resources so we can fix anything, and just know how to. With all technology, you just got to learn all the constraints and how to work around them to get things back up as quickly as you can. Everyone's always going to screw up, but being able to fix it on the fly, that's what really separates people.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And so what else separates ISP.net from other providers?
Really, it's speed. We're able to move. If you ever put in an order with AT&T or any of the big guys, you can get install windows up to years long that they got to build out, and sometimes they won't even come through. With us, we're able to provide it the next day or something. Like with all this infrastructure we have, we're always able to provide it the next day. We also I like to think we go as far as we can the extra mile. I mentioned we did AI sentiment. We have a guy that's grading all these scores and goes over every call that is a red flag. And I get calls all the time from our customers, and I follow up on them and find out what's wrong. And then we'll change a process. So in a big corporate world, this would take forever to actually have it, because I can see these things. I can get them what's happening live from our customers. Every time I get a feedback of something wrong, we'll go in fact, after this, I have my executive management meeting that I go through all the things and check all our processes for different departments and anything we can change to make our service better and friendlier and happier and be able to happen quicker.
That's awesome. And so AI is even helping the customer service satisfaction side of things as well.
Oh, yeah. If someone wants a feature now, we're able to implement that. Since we are writing our own software, we're often able to, if someone wants, I know you use our phones, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to have a cool feature rolled out in a week or two that you'll have a live display of all your agents up there, and you'll be able to see who's on the phone, who's talking to what, and see all the calls through your dashboard and see everything going on like a call center.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll be watching that instead of doing my work.
Yeah.
Keep my attention. So what do people never see about their internet connection on the back end that most people don't even realize?
The maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's always something that has to be upgraded. There's always something that has to be changed. There's always some kind of throughput problem. There might be a security patch. And no one sees the 5 a.m. call because it's windy and lightning struck something that we got to go fix. And we have all sorts of things that are monitoring our network. We monitor about 20,000 points at all times, how much throughput's going through it, the latency, if there's any alerts. But anything that happens goes to our network operations center, and they'll figure out what to do, whether it's something that can be put off for a little because everything's built in redundant rings. So we could break that ring and fix one part of it while we do something else. But no one ever sees when we're rerouting traffic and fixing something that got burnt up because, the other day we had a lightning. It wasn't lightning. It was the wind was causing something to vibrate and cause it to fall down. But because it's just been out there so long, and on top of these mountains, there's so much wind. But we were able to get it fixed without anyone really even noticing. And there's a lot of maintenance that goes into this that just have checklist after checklist. Every mountaintop has 5 to 10 kilowatts of battery backup that allows us to fix things because power here is pretty iffy.
Yeah, if we learned that the hard way here at the chamber, because during construction, they were putting in all the new electrical lines that were coming from the city to the new center, and didn't even think about it. Wasn't even on my radar. I knew I wasn't going to have power in the building for the morning, but didn't think about the fact that it was going to take internet down for everybody on the lakeside. And so thankfully the battery was doing just fine, no problems, no issues. And your guys came out and they set a generator up and no issues there either. But it was not something I was thinking about and didn't even think to call you guys. And so anyway, I was grateful that the battery is there. Some of those redundancies are built in so that it wasn't an issue, but Yeah, we were getting a little anxious
Yeah.
there, worrying about
Battery
that kind of stuff.
technology's come, it's night and day from what it was just a few years ago. Because of the heat here, when I had lead acid batteries, you just never knew when they would fail. With lithium batteries, it's a lot more scientific when you can calculate what the runtime will be and see
Oh.
everything, the status of every cell in there. It's a lot more. I got a lot more insight to how long it would last, to know how long I have till I need a generator out somewhere.
And I didn't even know there were batteries in there. I mean, the
Mm.
station is so small. It's like this, it's just the size of a television. It doesn't even seem that big. And so I was impressed that all that stuff was happening back there and I didn't even realize it. So the behind the scenes, you are right. I am grateful that you guys know what the heck you're doing because I just want to be on the outside, have great service. And we've never had any issues. I think we've only had to replace a modem or something one time because it just overheated in the back room. So we just reset the temperature with the air back there and it has been great. So I am a testimonial. It has been phenomenal, very grateful for it, and very glad that we had your service because otherwise we'd have access to nothing. So
Wow.
I'm happy about that. So can you share with us something maybe that most people don't know about you, maybe something about your professional life or something that's nobody else knows?
Well, I have the most structured life in the world. I do the same thing every week. I do jujitsu on Saturdays and Wednesdays. I play squash on Thursdays. I play golf on Sundays. And then I take my kid to the trainer Wally Wombats on Tuesdays and then the dog park.
That's awesome.
That's my life is the same thing every day.
You like routine.
I like routine.
You know, I don't think there's anything bad. That's kind of me. And then I get a little bit, I have to learn to be a little bit more patient when things throw me off my routine because I feel like, oh, don't move my cheese. I have a plan and you need to stay with my plan. So if my day planner gets messed up, I get kind of a little hinky about that. But anyway, I love that. And I think that's great. And so you said you'd take your, is it son or daughter?
Son, yeah.
To the train?
He just likes the mall train. I'm sure you've seen him at the malls, those things.
I have. You need to bring him out here to Boulder to the train, actual train.
We go at least once a month there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
Saturday
you so
mornings.
much. Very good. Our grand opening out here will be September 17th. So we're very excited and looking forward to the new museum.
I'm sure he'll love it like none other.
It's going to be beautiful. And Dr. Christopher McMahon is the director, and he's putting in the displays right now and has put so much thought and effort into it. It's just going to be absolutely amazing, and I'm very excited. So can you share with us a little bit more about what book you might be reading? Are you reading any books right now?
I probably finished it. Well,
So I would imagine you could probably write a book. I think one of your favorite authors you had shared with me before was Chuck Palahniuk.
that's the guy that wrote Fight Club. That's my favorite.
Oh,
My favorite book
your
ever.
series. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, everything he writes is really mind bending.
Well, I am not familiar with that, but I am definitely going to look it up. We have a business book club, and we're always looking for great solutions. So I would love to look at that because it sounded like in your experience with what you had read that he had to hit rock bottom before he realized that was really a liberating moment.
That's all the movie's about. Everyone thinks it's about fighting, but it's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so can you share with us maybe a little lesson that you learned from your mom or your dad?
My mom she was a school teacher here,
Oh, really good.
and she's the persistence. Always never give up on anything. That's really my whole philosophy in life is you can figure it out eventually. It's just how many brain cycles and how much time you want to spend on it. And that's really what separates people is how long they spend on a problem to fix it. And it's not just fixing the problem. It's the journey that you do you learn so much just trying to go after everything, especially things you don't know. That's the only way I've been able to do this business is there's so many different specialties involved in it. It's not just the mental, it's also the physical, just learning how to do construction. If you think about it, we're more of a construction company than a technology company because we're constantly building. We got to make sure every antenna on a rooftop doesn't move in 120 mile per hour winds. And you got to also know all the mechanics around it because you have to know what it's made out of, the metal fatigue, how much it's going to rock, what kind of throughput you're going to get. There's just a lot of specialties, and if you don't learn all of the nuances of everything, you're going to find things that baffle you, and you're going to think it's magic. And learning and persistence is the difference between knowing something and thinking it's magic.
Oh, I love that. And you're in the construction slash manufacturing, technology. It's a little bit of everything.
Everything.
And then you got the customer service side of it too, because you do so much with the businesses and residential.
Yep.
And you also have to be in the people management, because I know Larry Archuleta is one of the installers here in Boulder City. We are so grateful for him and his assistance as well. And so you've got your hands wrapped into a little bit of almost every industry.
Yeah, I have a really good team though. I'm not really the people person, as you can probably tell. I like playing with all the fun parts, but I got a good team that's able to deal with all the lower level management stuff that I don't really like to do.
Howard Hughes always said, surround yourself with people smarter than you.
Yeah,
And it sounds like you built into that philosophy the way
that's
that
for
you
sure.
operate your business. Yeah, that's great. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Maybe something that you want people to know about the business? Maybe something new that's coming out, like you shared a little bit about the telephones?
Yeah, one interesting thing that we've been working on is for over past 5 years is we're talking about telephones and like Wi-Fi, and we've made a box that is controlled by our software. And this magic box, depending on what kind of hardware you want, if you want door access control like those card readers,
Yeah.
that box is able to go and provision each port for whatever different service, and it's automatic. So we're able to bring down the cost of all these cool features down to small business so that they can have the Wi-Fi, the phones, the access control, even temperature and water monitoring are popular items now. And this used to be all specialty companies that you'd have to go to. You'd get a really expensive, at least 5-digit quote to get it done. We're able to do it on a really small monthly fee, and we try to bring it down so that it's attainable by anyone.
Oh, that's great.
Because if you think about who accesses a door, that means that you need to rekey a door every time someone leaves or something, because you keeping control of all your keys. But if you have software that you can go in and just take someone out with a card key, enables you a lot more who can come in at what hours. You can have cameras that watch them. It gives you a lot more flexibility for not only access control, but audits, who's able to see who's where. So we're able to get traces of everything, like especially with we're in downtown Las Vegas, right? So there are a lot of homeless and a lot of vandalism that occurs. So we have tools with AI facial scanners. If it's not one of our employees, we have AI speakers that actually yell and say things that, based upon if you're not in our database, it'll tell them to get out, and this area is a restricted area.
That's
And,
incredible. I
yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool AI stuff coming out that we're providing.
So I need to speak to you a little bit more later about the new suites at the visitor center. So we have 14 suites. They just have normal door locks, and the same thing with our chamber building. But we are looking to, I was interested in how expensive it might be to do a card reader system, so you have a little bit more control.
Yeah.
And as those 14 different operators come and go, or their employees come and go, I would love to have access to be able to shut that key card off versus having to worry about getting a key back.
Yeah, it's a great utility that a lot of people don't realize. Is it used to just be pretty high-end buildings because you needed special wiring. You had this old computer in the back that was doing it, and then you had certain people to operate it. But nowadays, it's just part of a door system that it works over what we were talking about earlier with Ethernet. All these things are just IP devices that we create a separate secure network for them, and we're able to control them through our software, and it's all pretty ubiquitous to everything we do.
That's incredible. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. That's a for sure thing. And something we really didn't touch on, but you mentioned it, a secure network. So what about cybersecurity? How is ISP.net providing its different clients the cybersecurity? Do you have education on it? What do we do about cybersecurity?
So we have a room full of Cisco certified network engineers. We probably have more Cisco certified people in one room in Southern Nevada than just about anyone, that are all trained and know how cybersecurity works. But we do all the features of a network. We make sure all the devices are in its own, they call them VLANs, virtual networks, that nothing else can be in there. And then we have sensors and firewalls to tell that. But as an ISP, one of our things is our job really isn't to secure people's network, because if we go in and block things for them, we want to sell unregulated internet access. So if we block too much, or we block anything really, it's up to the customer to know what they want.
Got it.
They have, like you mentioned, Larry Archuleta. That's the guy that should go in and block all the stuff, and he's good at it. I know Larry for many years, and it's the person managing the network. Because if I start blocking stuff, who am I to say that something's good, something's bad? I don't know what your network needs are.
Well, I will say again, Damn Computer Medic, that's Larry's company. We have him on retainer because it is something that we definitely need. And so we consider him our IT person because we don't know what we're doing. We need that professional side of it. So I'm glad that you surround yourself again with smarter people and people that can provide those types of services and give people the freedom so that you, like you said, you aren't controlling it. It's up to them to make the choice.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the embarrassing question for me that I always get so uncomfortable asking this. But what is your experience with the Boulder City Chamber and Boulder City in general? Have you had a positive experience?
I know I had to figure out how to get internet here, and that took a while because you're like on the cusp of something that you wouldn't be able to really see, but I've been able to work around to get a signal here. So I've known about you guys for a while. And then we work with the government a lot.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are very involved with my sales guys and staff. I like doing the tech stuff. And they do the soft people stuff. So they just said, CJ, we got to join this. And I know you guys do great things. And Boulder City is such a great little community that I like to support anything that like this. I've been coming here as a kid and coming out and just spending a day in Boulder City for the car show. My mom used to drag me to the art show every year. And I'm like, oh, we got to go by, and I'll just, at least you have the peanuts, the crunchy peanuts I like to have.
That is awesome. So we're glad you could have some entertainment out here. And I'm so glad that you bring your son because that's pretty special. And what memories you're creating with him.
Yep, he loves the car show too. He loves cars and trains. That's his thing.
That's awesome. Well, I'll make sure he knows about all of them.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We are so grateful to have you and so grateful for your knowledge, your talent, and your skills. And thanks for sharing those with us.
Thanks for having us. It's been a great time and really appreciate it.
Thanks. This episode of the Best Damn Podcast has been a production of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. Please check out all the links and social media handles on our website as well at bouldercitychamber.com. You can find the Best Damn Podcast on all your favorite podcast directories. Like us and share on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, discover, explore, and unwind in Boulder City.